Welcome to Waking Up Tired, Narcolepsy Symptoms Explained, a limited podcast series giving voice to what narcolepsy symptoms are like from a patient's perspective. I'm your host, Spillane. In today's episode, you'll hear from Laura. Laura was 33 when her world changed. It began with hallucinations, a shadowy figure looming in her bedroom, voices that weren't there, footsteps, and unexplained sounds. You see, Laura had met someone who actually haunted me when I was first showing symptoms of narcolepsy. The Shadow Man. And he's terrifying. The Shadow Man is a recurring figure in sleep paralysis and folklore, and he has haunted people for centuries. And for Laura, he became a nightly visitor, and he was just the beginning. What followed was a diagnosis of type 2 narcolepsy that developed along with long COVID. Laura's story is about stigma, misdiagnosis, and finding the courage to say, I'm not okay, even when the world tells you otherwise. This episode may be confronting at times, but it's also a reminder that behind every diagnosis is a person trying to make sense of their reality. And sometimes, reality isn't quite what it seems. Meet Laura.
Usually it involves seeing things more than hearing things. So usually I see the Shadow Man and he sits or stands in either my doorway of my bedroom, or he's near the bed, or he's over the bed, and he's over me or he's over my husband. It's kind of like the Dementors in Harry Potter. It's almost like that shadow, and it just hovers, and it's creepy, and I know it's not real. I definitely know it's not real, but it's so real. Like, my mind knows this isn't happening, but it is still petrifying because you can feel things. Like, I feel it and I see it. It is happening. I remember the first time it happened, thought I was going a bit crazy, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was seeing what I was seeing. I'm having a nightmare. I think I'm having a nightmare. Wake up. You just need to wake up. And it was horrible. I was so scared, and I got my husband up. You need to come to bed. And that made me feel a bit better about it. Usually I will have to fall asleep with my laptop on. So I'll usually put on something like Seinfeld or something funny just because I need noise. I don't like being in a silent room when I go to sleep, which is weird because I just don't feel safe. I don't feel safe going to sleep sometimes. It usually happens when I'm really, really tired. So if I'm super, super exhausted, I know I'm probably going to be in for a bad night of either really horrible, vivid dreams, or I know I'm going to see things or hear things that aren't there. So I kind of prep myself a bit for that. I tend to get them worse. I don't know why, but if I'm hot, so summer, not cool for me. Or if the room is too warm, I don't know why, it happens more. So in winter, I'll sleep with the window open. I will have ice packs in summer. Like, I don't know what it is, but when my body is warm, when I'm going to sleep, like if I'm too hot, the dreams, the nightmares, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I just can't explain what it's like to someone that doesn't experience it themselves. It's there, but it's not there. But to me, it's there. I had excessive daytime sleepiness to the point where I had brain fog, which I thought was long COVID brain fog. It got to a point where I drove home from the shop, drove into someone else's driveway, unloaded my shopping to the front door, and I went, oh my God, that's not my house, and had to get back in my car. And that's how bad the brain fog got. I would forget people that I knew. I'd be like, I know your name. I would not remember how to drive to Glenelg. I've driven that a million times. It got to a point where I was like, this is really bad. Like, this is extreme. Everyone kept saying, oh, long COVID. You've had COVID. You had it really bad. Long COVID, long COVID. Such common symptoms of other things. And I just didn't think to really ask any questions except keep telling people I'm still not feeling myself. I'm still not feeling myself. I don't feel okay. Please help me. That's all I could do because I didn't know how to piece it together. And because I just had the COVID infection, and that's obviously what kicked it off. But COVID was such a new thing, and people still don't know the effects of it. So when I hear things, it usually is footsteps, a lot of footsteps. It sounds like someone's coming down the hallway. It sounds like my son is coming down the hallway. I hear him call out for me a lot, which he's not calling out for me, but I hear him calling out for me. I'll say to my husband, what's going on? Like, he needs us. He's like, no, he hasn't called out. And I'm like, no, he's called out. And he's like, no, he hasn't. So now I just ask, did he call out or am I hallucinating? It's a little bit normal to him now. He's like, yes, it happened. No, it didn't happen. So I'll hear him a lot. I'll hear the footstep. I hear the front door. It sounds like someone's come in the house. No one's opened the front door. So yeah, it's usually something that would come across very normal. So footsteps, doors opening or closing, people calling out for me is another one. The shadow man sometimes speaks. Sometimes he speaks, but most of the time he's more just like a horrible presence that looms. But sometimes he says some scary things. But yeah, it's more just stuff around the house, or I might hear like a glass breaking or like someone's dropped something, but it hasn't happened either. So it kind of warps your sense of reality because you just don't know what's going on. It's really confusing. I sometimes vividly will think something's happened. To me, something has happened. I've seen it, smelt it, touched it, heard it. To me, this whole scenario has happened that hasn't actually happened. So I don't know if that's necessarily me hallucinating or if that's me just really vividly dreaming, because there's a fine line. So usually I get a bit of sleep paralysis when I hallucinate, and I know I can't move, and I know I'm like seeing something and I'm conscious, but I can't move. But other times I wake up thinking a whole scenario's happened at night and it hasn't happened. Like Ollie's come into our room, he's asked to come into bed, and in the morning I've woken up and I've gone, where is he? He came in last night, what's going on? And Dan's like, no, he didn't. He didn't come in last night. I'm like, no, he did. He came in and it just never happened. But to me, it happened. And I feel things like when the shadow man comes, I feel it. Like I feel pressure. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel it. I see it. I feel it. And that's what becomes really hard of knowing this is ridiculous. This isn't real, but it still makes you second guess because you can see it and like your senses are feeling it. Your senses are coming into play. So that makes it a bit difficult. It's kind of like when you leave the house and you go, oh, did I turn the hair straightener off? You're pretty sure you did, but that you kind of always go, did I though? And you want to check. So I know he's not there and I know it's not happening, but I still second guess it because I'm experiencing it. So it's just happening for me. Very, very strange. It's unnerving, especially when you just want to get a good night's sleep. You become scared to go to sleep. Some nights I'm terrified to go to sleep because I don't want to see something, or I've seen something and I have to try go back to bed. And I have work in the morning and I'm like, Laurie, you just need to go to bed. And I don't even want to go to bed. And then the more I fight it, the more likely I am to hallucinate. And it's just a little vicious cycle. It just goes around and around. Weird story about how I was diagnosed. I got COVID back in 2022 and I had it quite badly. I wasn't cleared to work for 5 weeks and I was just out. I was not in a good way. And past COVID, went to my GP and I kept saying, I don't feel okay. Like I'm not okay still. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel good. My heart rate was racing. I was passing out. All these weird things were happening. My blood test results were coming back funny. And I remember just being like, I still don't feel okay. And it's been quite a while. And she said, look, they have brought out a long COVID clinic at the hospital. Unfortunately, you're 8 weeks past COVID and you need to have been 12 weeks past your COVID infection to get in. So if you're still feeling this way by 12 weeks, come back and I will write you a letter and get you into the clinic. And I said, okay. So I was back 4 weeks later. Hey, I still don't feel okay. I'm still feeling the same way. So she's like, that's fine. I'll write you this referral. It had all my stuff from the last 12 weeks. And I got a phone call to go to Flinders Hospital for their COVID clinic. So I go there, didn't really know what to expect. And I saw the physio first. And he was like, do some tests, do this. And he's like, we need to stop the test and I need to get you to go see the nurse straight away. I'm like, why? And he's like, I think you have something called POP. He didn't really explain it. And off I went. She did the test and she's like, yep, you have POTS. And I was like, okay. So I kind of skipped all the other people I was meant to see that day in the clinic, and they did some follow-up phone calls and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why I'm just so tired and lethargic. I have brain fog, because those are all symptoms of POTS as well. Okay, maybe this is my answer. Then the doctor called. Look, I'm still just really tired. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I've been hit by a truck. I am physically hurting. I am so tired. And they're like, okay, well, how's about you come in and do a sleep study? Okay, didn't know what that was, but I was like, okay, cool. Did the overnight study, and they called me. Laura, your results are perfect. You don't have sleep apnea. You're perfectly fine. You had great sleep. I cried. I just broke down to this poor man on the phone. I am not okay. This isn't normal. For 33 years, I've not been like this. This isn't me. I don't know what's going on. And he said, okay, I hear you. There's one more test we can do. You'll stay overnight, and then during the day, you'll do a day study. And I was like, yep, book me in. Sure, I'll do it. I had no idea what they were looking for. I had no idea what to possibly find from that. I just went and did the test. Never researched what the testing they were putting me through was for. I just went, oh, they're asking me to sleep during the day. This is weird, but okay. I had no idea why they were wanting me to do it. I just didn't look into it. I was too tired to look into it. I didn't have time to look into it. I was still working full time. I had a young son. I just didn't look into it. And then I got a call saying, we know your appointment's in a month, but can you please come in a lot sooner? Okay, red flag, something's wrong. And then I went there, and they said, look, this is going to be a really long appointment, and we're going to give you a lot of information. And that's when they told me, you've got narcolepsy. Do you know what that is? And I said, well, I've heard about it before, because a girl I went to school with, her sister has narcolepsy. I knew a bit about it, but not very much. So when they said you have narcolepsy, I knew to do with sleep, but I didn't know the extent of everything until they started to go through it all and explain, have you been feeling this? Do you get brain fog? And I was like, yeah, all due to your sleep. I didn't know about the sleep-wake cycles. I didn't know it disrupted that. I just went, oh yeah, narcolepsy affects your sleep. I didn't really know how it affected your sleep. I got educated when they diagnosed me. It was a really long appointment. I think the appointment went for over an hour, and I remember leaving it and I kind of vaguely was like, whoa, that was a lot. You know, when doctors dump stuff on you and you're trying to listen, and then you leave and you're like, wow, that was really a lot. And you start to forget what they told you. So then I started doing a lot of research myself, and I started to join a lot of support groups, because they said to me in the appointment, you're going to need support. We recommend that you join a support group. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Didn't quite understand that one, but I did it. And then I understood, and I went, okay, now I know why you wanted me to do that. I didn't know that I was getting tested for narcolepsy when I was diagnosed. I didn't know that's what they were looking for. So I didn't really know much about it. And then once I got diagnosed with narcolepsy and I started reading up on it and what you can have when you have narcolepsy, I saw that that was one of the symptoms of narcolepsy. And that made me feel relieved. I wasn't going crazy. But at the same time, I was still scared to tell my specialist that I was seeing and hearing things. It was just that stigma of anyone that says I'm hearing or seeing something that's not there. Are they going to believe me? Are they going to think I'm crazy? Not many people know about narcolepsy. I was just so scared that I was going to be judged, or she was going to think I was just a bit loopy. It took me a while to say, hey, I'm actually seeing things and hearing things that I know aren't there. And she said, is it when you wake up or when you're going to sleep? And I said, usually when I'm going to sleep, but sometimes when I'm waking up. She said, that is completely normal. You're not crazy, you're okay. She said, if you start seeing things in the middle of the day when you're at work, we need to get you to see another specialist. But if it's only when you're going to sleep or when you're waking up, that's completely part of your narcolepsy and you've nothing to worry about. You just have to deal with it. So that was good. That was reassuring. But it did take me a while to tell her that, because it's scary to tell people. And I still don't really tell people that now. Even if they know me and they're friends or family, they give you a look. They're kind of like, sorry, you what? You see things or you hear things that aren't there. Like, what are you talking about? Are you sure that's normal? And then you have to try convince them, yes, it's normal for what I have. And you just end up not really sharing or telling anyone just because it becomes too hard to just explain what's going on. It's almost like you have to always try convince people of your illness or that what is happening to you is valid. And I don't have the energy for that. I'm too tired. I don't know if many other people experience it. I don't know if it's a common symptom. I didn't know why it was happening. And I didn't really want to tell anyone that I was seeing things and hearing things that weren't there, because I was like, they're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to put me in the hospital. I don't want to tell anyone what's going on. I only mentioned it after I knew that it was a symptom of my condition. I was still scared to tell her, and I still didn't tell her for a while. They never asked me if I had that symptom. After I knew that was a symptom, I was still scared to say something because I was like, are you going to judge me? Am I going to end up at the mental ward at the hospital? Are you going to put some mark on my file being like, this girl's crazy, watch out for her? Like, I just didn't know. It was really scary because it was also new. And there was all so much information and so much was happening. And I had never experienced all these things before. And it was really overwhelming. And so to put your trust in, yes, they're a doctor, but they're still a stranger and you're hoping that they'll help you, but you don't really know them. And you're putting all of this on them. And it sounds crazy. You sound crazy. But I came to a point where I was trying all different kinds of medication, all different doses of medication. And it was coming to a point where I was just so desperate for help because I just was not okay, that I was like, you have to tell her everything. She can't help you if she doesn't know what's going on. So that's when I was like, no, you have to tell her that you're also seeing things. I didn't know if it would make a difference with how she treated my condition or how she treated me. I didn't know if it was like a more severe kind of thing. If you had more symptoms than just a few, I wasn't too sure. I didn't know much about it, hadn't been diagnosed for long. I just went, she needs to know everything. If you want her to help you the best she can, she needs to know it all. You can't not tell her what's happening. She was super fine with it and reassuring, which was great, a load off my chest. She just worked really hard for me. And I was always super thankful for that because she went above and beyond, like she really did. I never really researched until after, and then I was like, I need to know everything so I know how to best help myself and know what to ask for or what to look out for or what's worked for other people. You have to really put yourself out there, which is hard. It's hard to advocate for yourself sometimes. So I learn a lot from other people who have the same condition as me because they experience the same thing. Don't feel so alone. That is normal for me to feel that way or to have that symptom, or you try things that they've tried. It's just nice having other people get you, because people can try to get you, but unless you know what it's like to be this tired and this exhausted, you don't know. The support groups are amazing. There's so many on Facebook, so many people on Instagram, and everyone's always super uplifting and helpful, and they give advice. They share what's worked for them, or doctors or specialists that they've worked with. So it is a really good tool as well. Definitely recommend other people get on board with those. So yeah, I don't tend to tell many people unless they're super chill and they want to know, or they want to be supportive and they ask questions. You can kind of gauge it. You can gauge the people that genuinely want to know or are open to learning about the condition. And then there are the others that you can tell that just aren't that interested in learning about it or knowing about it. And they're kind of being a bit judgmental or think that you're just being a bit dramatic or whatever. You do tend to learn, but I don't really share it. It's just got that stigma, which is really unfortunate, because I'm sure a lot of people are misdiagnosed with something because people don't understand that that is a symptom of narcolepsy. They get, oh, you're depressed, or you're anxious, or you're tired. You're low in iron because you're tired. Oh, you're seeing things, that's not because you're tired. So many symptoms where people don't put it all together. And then that other symptom can be a sign of something else, which is easier to jump to that conclusion, and they put you in a box. I really feel for people that don't know why that's happening to them. A lot of people, when I say to them, I have narcolepsy, they go, oh, so you have seizures? And I went, no. and they don't even know it has anything to do with sleep. People just haven't heard of it. Or they go, oh, like, in the rat race, the guy that always falls asleep. No, not that either. And I go, oh, just a bit tired. No, I'm not just a bit tired. I'm not that either. Sometimes it's like a full-time job trying to educate people. So usually don't tell people. It's not something I like to chat about, really. Well, I don't mind chatting about it. It's more you can sense who genuinely wants to know and wants to learn and wants to try understand. And the other people that are just asking questions because they think you're overreacting or you're faking it or it can't be that bad. You can tell. So it's just exhausting sometimes. Well, it's exhausting all the time having narcolepsy. Trying to advocate for yourself or educate is exhausting. It's like another job. So hard to get it into the mainstream, like to get your voice far enough that like people will start to listen or take note or be like, oh, I'm hearing this mentioned a lot. What's this about? I got diagnosed very quickly from my onset of symptoms because COVID kicked it off. I was only like a 6 month from starting to have symptoms to getting diagnosed. But if I didn't kind of push and say, this isn't normal, what's going on? I would have just put it down to, you're a mum, you've had COVID, he just turned 4, you've got a 4-year-old, and I would have just pushed through. I would have just kept going. I probably wouldn't have even seen a GP about it. I would have just been, you're just tired, and not done anything about it. So I was really lucky in that the GP sent me to the clinic and then they took me seriously and ordered the tests that they thought I needed. They've always been great in the sleep clinic. I've had a few different specialists over the 3 years and they've all been wonderful, gone above and beyond. And now they've got me approved for the oxybate, which a lot of people don't get or people won't even look into it for them. So I have been really, really lucky. Definitely hit the jackpot with how it happened for me. But then it's really sad as well because you realize that other people don't get that help at all and they're not seen and they're not heard. It is really an isolating condition. You just are very misunderstood. You can be misunderstood from the doctors as well. Some doctors I've spoken to, I say I've got narcolepsy and they go, don't know what that is. I get called a unicorn a lot or rare and complex. And it's almost like people say it kind of as a joke or kind of to make you feel better, but they don't realize that that doesn't make you feel better. That makes you feel worse. I don't want to be called a unicorn. I don't want to be called rare and complex. I'm me and you're meant to be helping me. Doctors come in and look at you and then leave, and because they just haven't seen someone with narcolepsy before. I'm not a circus animal for you to come and look at. It's bizarre. The way people treat you sometimes is insane. And I've actually had a doctor that took my case when I went into the ER for something unrelated. He was an older guy. And he said, I've only seen one other person with narcolepsy in my career, so I had to come down to see you. And I was like, oh, so are you helping me? Like, are you my doctor? And he's like, no, someone will be in with you shortly. Okay, what are you looking at? Why are you here? Do you do this with everyone? It's really strange. It's horrible. I had a heart specialist once tell me that I don't have narcolepsy and sleep disorders aren't a thing, and that if I took more blood pressure medication, then I wouldn't be sleepy. And I was like, well, this is the last time I'm seeing you. I was diagnosed in a hospital with very strict testing and criteria. I don't quite know how you don't see this as a condition. I didn't get it out of a Wheaties box. I was stunned. It was the worst feeling. You're a doctor and you're telling me that my condition that I've been diagnosed with is not a thing. It blew my mind and I never saw him again. Do people think that you can just fudge this test? I was normal for 33 years. I lived an active life. I wasn't tired. I was the complete opposite of how I am now. I knew something was wrong. Whereas if that's all you can remember, then how do you know that's not how you're meant to feel? Why would you go ask for help when that's all you've ever known? It's a constant guilt. It's grief. You grieve the life that you're missing out on. It all round grief. People don't get it. I had such a big turnaround. My wakeful test last year, I only passed it by a minute and a half, and I was on 250 milligrams of armodafinil and 60 milligrams of dex, and I just passed that test. And now I've passed it with flying colors. Like, you'd think that that would make people that are approving it stand up and go, she went from one extreme to the other just by being on this. Maybe we should do something about that to make that more available. Like, why keep pumping everyone full of amphetamines?
Thank you so much to Laura for sharing her story with such honesty and strength. Her experience reminds us that invisible illnesses are not just medical, they're emotional, social, and deeply personal. If you or anyone you know is experiencing anything similar to Laura or persistent severe sleep symptoms following a COVID-19 infection, then please speak to your doctor. This podcast exists to raise awareness, foster understanding, and help others find the diagnosis and support they deserve sooner, not later. Join us next time as we continue exploring narcolepsy through real voices and lived experiences. Thanks for listening to Waking Up Tired.